Good evening, everybody. How's it going? I'm in the shop today cleaning up my Winchester Model 75 for this weekend coming up, and I thought I would give you guys a quick explanation on a few things. So this particular model is from 1939. It features the adjustable trigger shared with the Model 69A. I have the original sight sets for it, which includes a Winchester rear and a Redfield front. 5-shot magazine on this guy. This one has that, I talked about in the video, shooting video, the adjustable barrel band. And so I just wanted to show you guys real quick what makes this rifle special. So this rifle was marketed by Winchester as having a hand-lapped barrel, a matched chamber, and individually head-spaced bolt. Those are different than the Model 69A, which doesn't have those features, is very visually similar, but doesn't have those features. The adjustable trigger works like this. There's basically a set screw here with a plunger and a spring that contacts the sear. The sear works like that, and so the part you can't see inside, the spring is pushing on that. So when you turn this screw out, you loosen the trigger contact, the spring contact rather, and forward increases it. I've got mine set basically as light as I could possibly set it after a polish. Any lighter or I lose sear engagement when I close the bolt, or it'll fly out the back. It's a little bit too light, as I mentioned in my shooting video, and it makes the safety unreliable, but it's a bench gun, so I just kind of leave it as is. This gun has some interesting marks on it. I'll show you quickly the 4-digit serial number. It also has some indexing marks as a proper target rifle would, various different Winchester stampings on them from the period. This is the dovetail for the rearmost action screw that goes into basically an inch of the heaviest part of the barrel. The receiver is very Savage Mark II-ish, very Sporter-esque. It's a heavy tube, but not a very heavy tube. It's I would say, like I said, about Sporter weight. You can see the different profiles of the trigger. So one of the main issues with a rifle like this that I would classify it as a low-tier rifle or a bottom-tier target rifle is not because it's not accurate and not because it's not a joy to shoot, because it's all of those things. And it's capable of turning in some wonderful groups for what it is. Stuff like the trigger. So I don't know if you can see the slop. So that corresponds with unreliable sear contact surface. So that'll affect your trigger pull. And one of the reasons I can't get this trigger light enough is that there's movement in the trigger. So you can try and tune that away by shimming it. These are all little projects you can do. And this little pin at the back here, right here, has a habit of wandering out on one side, and then it cocks the trigger blade itself sideways. So I would have expected that would have been staked a little bit better, but you can see that there's simple movement in the pin itself. Anyway, so basically the way it works, I have an empty case here, and I'm going to use my fat fingers and get that in there for you guys. So the case is in there, and I'll show you basically what the trigger pull looks like. And, oh, we didn't set there. All right, there we go. And that's one of the problems with a trigger that's set too light. About 5% of the time it won't catch the sear, and you got to recycle it. It's not a danger for accidental discharge. It just won't catch on the sear. Okay, so there you see the trigger pull itself. Okay, pretty straightforward. Now, the way I mentioned it, the way I had this set with the safety, I'll show you how that works in case you encounter one of these, is like, let's say it won't catch for you. Somebody's got this too light, most likely. You turn it in, it'll be problem solved. Same with the safety. If you guys are concerned about safeties because you're going to carry this in the woods, for example, once you put this on safety, for me, you can probably hear it. So it's on safe right now. Hear that little click? That means that the sear is tripped. So when I take it off safety, it fires. Not a real big concern for me, but for some people that would be a concern. Okay? I'll show you the bolt real quick. So you saw how I did that. Basically, you pull the trigger back, the bolt comes out. So, just like on the Velmet we talked about, when you cycle this, you can see how easy that is to decock. Much easier than like a CZ and like the Velmet, which is like literally 10 times the spring pressure. You can see how easy that is. Same basic concept. You got a pin here that captures this screw that screws in the back that contains the firing pin spring. The firing pin is flat profile, and then it turns to round profile as it exits the bottom of the bolt. to an extractors. There's no lug on this bolt. It lugs on the base of the bolt handle. All these parts are more or less still available because they share a lot in common with the 69. You can probably make out right there some electro pencil. I hope you can. So 6246. That's the serial number of this rifle. The reason that's important is they were individually headspaced. So when you look for one of these, check the bolt if you find one to make sure that it matches, because you could buy a rifle that's mismatched. And it's important because they were hand fitted at the factory. And that not only contributes to accuracy, but what'll happen is that because this is set up properly to be headspaced, there's very little wear of this bolt handle in the receiver. So when I lock it down, it goes straight down. It doesn't rub because the bolt is interfering with the front of the barrel or the chamber area, face of the chamber. So it makes for a very smooth cycling bolt. And believe me, this bolt is smoother than a well-broken-in Savage. It's just as smooth as a well-broken-in CZ. It's a very nice bolt for what it is. Okay? So that's important. The barrel band is important as well because it has kind of like this very wonderfully machined surface that basically, when you put it inside the stock like this, you can see that this is a tapered fit. It's also tapered inside this, basically this scutcheon, I guess, and a threaded insert at the back. So when you screw this in, it pulls on the barrel band and it pulls it into the stock. While I got the stock in my hand, I'll show you guys real quick that it has the typical, I know it's dark, the typical American style inletting of the period, kind of semi-rough inside. There's original 5-shot, 5-round Winchester magazine. This isn't a reproduction with a little button that is actually the retention device. It's a nicely made magazine. It reminds me of a Savage Mark II. Very similar. The sights on this rifle are beautiful. This one is a Winchester made rear. And so we got a block that mounts on the side of the receiver, and then the sight itself slips inside and then tightens on the side of the gun. The sight itself is in excellent shape except for some rust frosting on the knobs. I don't know if you can make it out, but there's a very charming light spot there where after, when I was cleaning this up, it was seized, it moved, and I got it to move finally, and you can see where it had been sitting for so many years. Every time I look at that, I smile because this rifle was, basically sat not being used for how many decades before I got it. It's kind of amazing, really. Speaking of amazing, is this original Winchester rubber eye cup. And I don't know if you can make that out, but it has a adjustable iris to let light in. What's cool about these is, well, they're nearly impossible to find in any condition at all, and usually after all these years, this is rubber. The rubber is destroyed. And one of the benefits to using something like a Ballistol is it's safe on rubber. And so if you're going to use a gun cleaner on this, it would probably liquefy this rubber. So it's still pliable after all these years. Still functions fine. 1939, pretty amazing. The front sight that fits on the dovetail is Redfield marked, which is correct. And uses the typical Redfield type inserts. They're a little bit hard to find. I had some 3D printed that I use. This is a very nice front insert for a front sight. Clamps onto the dovetail. You can see the condition is excellent. Just a little bit of wear on the surface, probably from in and out of the gun case kind of thing. But in an excellent condition. A little bit of frosting similar to the rear sight, but not nearly as pronounced. There's some pretty heavy rust there, and it's better now than it was, believe me. And it clicks are positive. Works as it should, but that iris is just beautiful. Very cool. Hope you guys can see that. Very cool. So that mounts on the side of the receiver. And I, of course, have the EGW base on it, you know, to take full advantage of the accuracy on this thing. But anyway, when you put this back in the stock, there's a couple of things you got to be aware of. The rear goes in no problem. It's pretty straightforward. But the just slips in like this. But the front, you have to get a little, because this is, you know, splayed apart. You have to kind of get in one side and then fit your screwdriver in to get it in that groove, and then you just tighten it up, as with any rifle like this. And then the key is here, you just don't cinch this down like a gorilla. You have to kind of fine tune it to the ammo. So you don't want to be just tightening it down like you would an action screw and call it good. You almost leave it just a little bit engaged. And then you kind of, if you haven't counted your turns from the last shooting session, because, you know, if you want to take it out of stock, that's what you got to do. You got to start over and retune it, or to get into the area. It takes quite a bit to set it up properly, but then you're rewarded with a little bit more consistency. Anyway, this is what it looks like. Beautiful flat target crown, nice muzzle, and I don't know if you can see the original case hardening on that. Dovetail mounted. It's beautiful. Has the original sight block holes, and that's actually what the EGW mounts in. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but I didn't drill any holes. It's one of the advantages of these mounts. Very well made, is it mounts in the factory locations. Same as a 52 and I believe a Kimber. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you guys, as I had it for cleaning, is what it looks like inside and how to adjust that trigger and what it's all about. I really appreciate, as always, you guys watching, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you. Hey everybody, I'm back real quick. After I filmed this video, I came back in the shop and I spent a significant amount of time on this trigger to try and improve it as best I could, and I'm happy to report that I have this trigger at 1.5 pounds reliably. So I'll detail that maybe later on how I actually did that, but it's totally reliable. It's actually more reliable than before. The combination seems excellent. So range report to follow, because this trigger has suddenly changed how this rifle will shoot, I have no doubt. So now I was excited to shoot it Saturday. Now I can't wait. But anyway, that's a quick update for you. I just got right into it, made it as good as I could, and I'm pretty proud of this trigger right now. So range report to follow. Thanks for watching.